also, so.
We had that big word, I called that.
Everybody please rise and join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here. Adam, do you have anything you would, I'm sorry.
Jennifer, I said it, how did you say it?
Adam, please.
So February numbers are in front of you. Pretty much on par with January for another busy month. 181 for the total 911s. Averaged out to 6.4 for the 911s, and you factor in our MIHs, which that has transitioned to its own program. So EMS isn't doing a ton with MIH anymore. One of my medics took over that role, so that is his primary responsibility now. But that's, you go down the list, we did 130 MIHs in January, only 89 in February. That attributes to a lot of the COVID numbers are still continuing to decline, so we're not seeing near as many COVID visits as we were. Dispatch en route is still well under a minute, 0.81. All the times are pretty much in line with what I expect them to be. Second page is just our destinations as normal. I don't know if you've heard or may hear at some point, I got requested up to Crispin to assist with cardiac arrest here last week for a specific piece of equipment. Unfortunately, one of our auto pulse units, our mechanical CPR units, we put it on and that unit did fail. So we just reverted back to manual CPR, which is, there was no adverse outcome, but that piece of equipment was pulled from service immediately and replaced the next day. So
That was your piece of equipment?
that was my piece of equipment. A lot of area agencies are finding out we have that mechanical CPR and are requesting us for that. We're happy to do it, but the only downfall is each time, I mean, those bands that go with it are not cheap, and that's an expense we just can't write off. But if it means helping somebody, then that's an expense we'll eat all day long. But like I said, that equipment was already replaced. It was an unfortunate event, but like I said, the backup is always manual CPR, which we went right into.
Question, I haven't thought this out before. So if you have somebody that's in the ER, whether or not you took them there, if you have them in the ER or they're an inpatient and you transfer them to Carl, is that on here?
So that'll be on your middle of the page where you have transfers emergent and transfers non-emergent.
Okay,
So the transfers emergent are gonna be any hospital to hospital transfer, because that is considered an emergent transfer. Your non-emergents are gonna be a lot of those discharged from the hospital back to homes, nursing homes, things of those sort. But the emergent transfers are what you're gonna see as the hospital to hospital transfer.
okay, so what's on the back page is when somebody says take me to Carl?
So the second page is strictly 911 calls. So the second page doesn't have anything to do with transfers, this is all patient requests on 911.
Gotcha.
We did get some new equipment in this month, so represents a significant financial investment. We got a new ventilator and a new video laryngoscopy equipment. Some of that was about 60,000 for those two pieces, but say all 4 units now are identical, minus there is no auto pulse on the 4th unit. I've only got 4, and that 4th auto pulse unit is in my vehicle. So coming soon, within the next year at least, we will have an additional auto pulse unit, but right now it's just not financially responsible for something that we won't use super often. Cost of medical equipment, the cost of everything is just going through the roof. Medical equipment is, since I took over, I mean, we're looking at almost pretty close to 100% increase in equipment. It's kind of ridiculous. Any questions?
Saw on Facebook had a EMT class graduating.
Absolutely. Just finished, so we've got 2 EMT classes going on simultaneously. The one that graduated is the community class. We had every single student pass, so that speaks highly to my instructor, Sean. I've already had several of those students apply. I've got a full-time position open right now. Several of those students have already applied. They always have to pass their state licensing certification. Then the high school class will graduate in May. So Coming in a couple months, they'll be doing skills practical too, but we look for good things for them.
How many is involved in that program?
Right now, there's 5. We're doing another one coming this fall, and from what I understand, there are about 10 signed up for that right now. Plus, we're doing a first responder class to the high school as well, so we'll have 2 high school classes, then we're doing a community first responder class with another community EMT class starting in the fall. So, our education-wise, we are very busy, but everything's going great. We're continuing to invest heavily in that program. We're buying new training equipment almost monthly anymore, so. Looking for good things.
Any other questions? I might note that in your packet is the Neil EMS report also, so you might look that over.
Had 60 911 calls. Surprised they had that many.
Kind of weird how in February you got 60, in March you got 0. Of course, I mean, we're only into, what, day 9, but you would have thought we would have had a couple.
I don't think those are updated, because
I was
I know
gonna
for a
say, you
fact
haven't put
if,
them in yet. You probably
Yeah, I
sent
just
that.
hadn't put them in.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay. We thank you. Andrea,
Yes,
how are you this morning?
good, you?
Good. So, you have a report, or at least you wanna?
I just wanted to give you guys an update. All our cameras are going. I can see the shelter all the way around it whenever I want to. Dog wise, we are full. Our food donation, we are completely full in the shed right now, so we're good. The programs, I have 2 different programs I'm looking at still, really not sold on it money wise yet. So I'm still looking to find a better deal, better outlook on that for our rabies. They're really expensive. I mean,
Can you explain what you're saying when you say program and rate?
the rabies, we keep track of all the rabies certificates in the county. Which every dog is supposed to be vaccinated. Beforehand, we had a mailing where we kept track of it. You know, if a dog's running, we can pull it up. If a dog bites somebody, we can pull it up. Before we had it so we could send out a mailing to every, every person. Well, I found out the vets are doing that. So that's a cost that we shouldn't do too. Because really we weren't getting a big income of money. I didn't see a big increase after I sent the mailing out than before. It was pretty much steady, stayed the same. So I pretty much decided to do away with that because I don't see where that can help us. So the cost of stamps, envelopes, everything like that, time consuming will go down. But we still need a program so if a bite happens or we have some paper proof, or not paper proof, computer proof, that we can pull it up, say, yes, this dog is vaccinated, it's taken care of. Plus it takes care of the money a little bit more. Where there's a second showing, they paid this much money for their tags. It's 4,500 tags is usually what we issue out.
Is anybody taking dogs like you used to, like you can take some over to Indiana? Or somebody was picking them up
Everybody is
and taking
full
them?
right now.
Mhm.
I mean, we are pretty much sitting, my next date for going out for a rescue is 2 weeks. The adoptions are slowing down right now. I don't know if it's the time of year or what it is. We're just, we have a lot of dogs and we're moving slow. Our phone lines though, that was my other gripe, is the phone lines. I did call Gibson. Gibson came in, ran me new phone lines. I still got static. So I'm gonna call that happened on Friday, so I'm calling the phone company again today because it's obviously on their end.
Is it worse when it rains?
It's awful when the temperature changes or it rains.
Yeah, I had,
Sounds like
That's
my
front-
phone,
yeah.
until about a couple of years ago.
yeah, front,
Um,
that was, is it Frontier up to? Yeah, Frontier has trouble sometimes.
and
Yes, they
I
do.
have called them out, I have been nagging them for probably 2 years. They come out, they do something, then they go, it's fixed. It's not fixed. So I finally had Gibson, they kept saying it's inside our building. So I had that all new, it's all new, and we still got it.
Good luck.
Yep, that's all I got though, guys.
Still getting donations for food.
Not as much, but the funeral, this sounds awful, but the funeral homes are now using us as a donation thing too, so we're getting quite a bit of check steady from people passing away.
I've got a check and a box of food.
Oh.
And treats.
Yay!
Does anybody use the voucher system? Or do you
I've
know?
had very few, I think we've got 5 issued out right now, but that's
Yeah,
5
that's
more than,
5 more than what we-
yeah.
And how's the CAD program working with the other folks?
I am not, I think they're doing all right, I think they're overwhelmed, but they're not really involving me much in it at
So
all.
it's not an issue.
Not an issue right now, no.
Okay.
I did tell them that they could come and get like our plastic crates that I don't use and stuff like that, so just because they've all been donated and stuff like that, and my big dogs can tear them up, so they can have them for the cats.
Do you need a large wire cage or anything?
I collect those, yes.
Okay,
yep.
I've got one I haven't used in a
Oh,
few
awesome,
years.
yep.
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it down to you instead of
Okay, that sounds good.
right on top of things. Guys, Cal, do we have questions? 'Cause
How many dogs do you have outside? I know you can't get all of them inside where it's
I've
warm.
only got 2 right now outside.
That's not bad.
And the 2 I've got outside, they could be inside, but they're so stir crazy, they stir everybody else up, so they're outside,
That's
just,
good.
it's better for them.
lots of times animals, and the farmers can tell you, probably Carl, I mean, my stock can go in, you know where they spend all their time?
That's right.
But, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can get out of the wind even though they're
Yep.
outside, right?
Yep,
So-
they've got roofs over their heads and dog houses, but some of them just do not do good inside, and they make everybody else crazy.
I think we have one of the best shelters in the state, so.
Well, thank
the
you.
person that runs it.
Oh, thank you. I try. I had to go to, the vet this morning, so, I mean, but my next vet appointment is until the 15th, yeah.
By the way, I heard, Dee Bergen opened that shelter and so forth. His daughter is just finishing her 2nd year of vet school, and when she gets done, her plan is to come and he's gonna provide space, or they're gonna add space onto that unit. I know that's
That-
long-term, and that could change, but that's the family plan at this
That would
point.
be awesome. We need vets in this town. We need them bad.
And of course, we lost ours in Chrisman,
Mhm.
and that's probably not gonna be replaced.
No, she sold everything out and is selling the building.
Well, what happens with a lot of the vets, and I've got several friends with young women who are becoming vets, but the big corporations come in and snap them up,
Mhm.
and they never even consider setting up private practice. Well, they go to work, for a
Get
corporation.
insurance and benefits and
Oh, yeah.
that's the.
Yeah, that's the way of the times.
Yep.
We appreciate you coming in, you are always welcome here, we would love to see you, and we've got 3 different meetings you can show up at, and I know you've got a lot going on, but we would love to see you, and if you have issues, please let us know.
How's
Thank
the
you.
truck running?
Actually good. It's finally fixed. Yes, right now we're all right.
Okay.
Yep, got everything going on it.
You're just gonna keep asking her questions till we find one that she's got a problem with, aren't you?
Well,
I'm not
long-term-
griping about
long-term-
anything today,
long-term,
guys.
we won't find one that has a problem with.
I'm just teasing,
I know
Dan.
you. I know you.
If you need to boogie, you're welcome to
I do.
leave, or if you wanna stay for a while, that'd be nice too. Either
Everybody
way.
wants food, so I better go. Thanks,
right.
guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
See ya. Why don't we hit the ordinance that Tim worked up on, weed dispensary and so forth?
Computer too, I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, and I talked to the mayor about it, when I took the mayor's ordinance to the state's attorney's office, Tim was able to identify that it didn't actually prohibit dispensaries. It will now, There was a few areas that they could slip around, but they are gonna close those loopholes. We weren't able to identify anybody that was producing, and I know, and Lisa brought this up, she may wanna expound on it. We basically were talking about dispensaries, but we expanded this thing like the city did to cover everything. I mean, how do you say, okay, you can grow, we could cover the whole county and grow in it, but we don't want any dispensaries. We just don't want anything to do with it, is pretty much what the city has said. But that's up to you guys and gal.
You can still call me a guy, it's okay.
Okay.
It's a generic.
I catch heck for that sometimes.
No,
My daughters go, we are not guys, Dad.
It's all right.
So at any rate, I just kinda took everybody like I felt they wanted it, and like the city proposed, and they're closing the one loophole that they could down south of town do something. And I asked the mayor before I said, I have a question, and he goes, no, I already know. Cause I guess Mark called him and said, look, you got a hold of this thing, so, alright, so. Other than a hemp farm, I'm not sure that we've got anything else going on. If there is one and we're not aware of it, it'll just be, not a farm, but any kind of farm. We'll just have to deal with it, as whether it's grandfathered in or not, but we don't believe it this time. I called Wyatt, and, he wasn't aware. I called the state's attorney, called the mayor. Well, I called several other people saying if they knew of any types or forms of licensed facilities in this county that the state of Illinois had licensed to either propagate, distribute, and nobody knew of anything, so.
So you bring up hemp though. So is there language in here that would,
We're gonna address that.
okay,
It'll have to be a modification to the, if it's necessary. Tim's gonna let us know whether we need to do something about that. But I thought in the meantime, I mean, it's up to you guys, but in the meantime, we can pass this thing. And, these are all fluid documents, from time to time, they probably need to be updated. And a board 10 years from now may say, we need on the gravy train, or we don't need on the gravy train, or whatever, so.
do you know what a craft grower would be? What's that mean? Do you know?
I think of beer.
Well, that's what I was
They're
thinking.
growing, they're growing a
He just
certain
hangs out on the
type.
farm.
Hey man, what's happening? Hey guy, hey guy.
Is it true you can have 5 plants?
I don't.
That
Is
is
it?
all.
Yeah,
I've always heard
I
that.
believe that's in Illinois.
Is that true? You can have
You
5
could-
plants?
think
You
so.
could make 40 gallons of beer and you could,
Have
Grown
5
5
plants, yeah,
and
okay.
then you could have a party.
Oh, yeah, heck of a party.
And I'll fix brisket, cause you'll all be
I
hungry.
heard that, I heard you have
And I
5
can sell you the
plants.
brisket, I just got 2 new
I
ones.
just wondered.
Oh, I just cooked a brisket last week
Man.
for the first time.
So you have your 5 plants?
Hey,
Yeah.
Okay.
Make him count.
vegans. I don't know, to get back to your answer, or question, I guess it just, you're creating your own style of plants, or, I
Where's
don't know.
Grandview, Illinois? Not no. Cause if you Google Grandview, Illinois, there's a
Springfield.
it's up by Springfield. Well, there's, 'cause
No, that's
Oh, yeah, I
someone
saw
told me, they
I
said, there's one in
Grandview is
Grandview, and I
up in
looked at it and I said, there's no
Springfield.
building like that in Grandview.
Yeah, I did see that, you're right, I mean, that's over by,
I said,
out
Are
of
you
my
talking
alley.
2 words? I know there's another Grandview, because every once in a while, we used to get delivered, when I was at the jail, we'd get delivery people trying to go out here,
Yeah.
and we said, no,
No,
it's over
it's-
Springfield.
I don't mess up their schedule.
Well, anyway, make sure you look that over, but our legal eagles have come up with that, and we're checking out anything else we need to do based on hemp or anything else, so, okay? The other thing on the agenda, what is the other thing? I put mine
Solar.
away.
Solar ordinance.
Yes, solar ordinance.
Okay.
Take her away.
Take her away. Well, I will tell you, I was gonna call you and I thought, well, it was so close to the meeting, I didn't. I ended up having being invited over to Newman to visit with, okay, let me back up. You know, the group that was very passionate about wind turbines asked me if I would provide them, keep them updated on solar. So I emailed them the proposed ordinance, and then they invited me over for lunch to discuss it last Friday, so I did. And, you know, we all agree that the issues surrounding solar and wind are not the same. There is not the passion, there are not the concerns. And once again, there were a couple people that hadn't been involved very directly with the wind, so I reiterated that our position is not whether or not you approve of them, but it's a matter of what an ordinance is for. And I once again stated that my concern is not to, not prevent you from doing what you want on your ground, it's to make sure that your neighbors are treated fairly. So, we went through it, and I made some notes. Some were questions I couldn't answer. But there was and one of the people in the room was an attorney.
Was or wasn't?
Was.
Was.
No, actually was.
Oh.
But he still has the education, still uses it. Just doesn't sign things, I don't think. His observation was that we should include some language in here about if there's going to be a lawsuit or an issue, that it comes back to Edgar County Court. I hadn't thought of that one. Because, and he had a good point, if we have something in here that they are not following, then if we, and I don't know if this is right, this is fake. If then the company could say, no, we want you to go to Plano, Texas, because that's where our corporate headquarters are, which would then cause a whole lot of hassle and money, and we would go, no, we're not going there.
I don't think we can, if we need to ask, I don't think we can set up or tell them what jurisdiction they can go
Well,
to.
normally, it's where
I
it,
don't know.
where it
they're in
occurs,
court. Yes,
where the incident occurred is where it is.
but I
So
don't
if
think
the
we can
question
dictate.
incorporation or occurs, that's two totally different.
No, if they come to your house and you sign the contract at your house, and I don't know where else, unless you go to Texas to sign it, but if they come to your house and you sign it at your house, then that's the jurisdiction that it happened in.
What do
Okay,
the others have? What-
nothing.
Okay. Well, that's a
That's why
question we
I
need
haven't
to
Right.
the
ask our.
slightest idea.
It's not something that we, home office has ever wanted to make sure was in one. I would assume that's probably the
just-
given, you know, if somebody gets zapped in Edgar County, you're gonna
Yeah.
have a lawsuit in Edgar County.
Yeah.
So can I ask Tim about that one, see if he can give us an answer?
Yeah, but I
before-
don't think it should show up us, slow it up passing it. I think those could be amendments made to the current ordinance, okay?
Okay,
We have, I mean, we have had the experts and the pros, and now we're being thrown some extra questions, and those can continue forever,
okay.
okay?
Well, I'll go ahead and ask that, but knowing that would, and then the other question was,
Tina,
okay,
the supervisor of assessments, the one that is,
actually issues the permit, okay.
because she's the one that office is the one that has all the work to do on what it's worth and what it's not worth and all that.
Okay,
Just like a wind.
okay. And then, thinking that way, would it be helpful, or would it just muddy things if Dina came to provide her, rather than me going back to an email from her, to just provide her bit of information about this is how the taxation works?
Are we gonna do that before we pass this thing? That should have been done a long time ago. I thought it already was.
Well, it was, she gave me an email. I'm asking more for the public hearing, for the public knowledge.
Guys,
Exactly,
how is it gonna be assessed?
Like if,
There's a state law that says
Right.
how it's gonna be assessed. Dina's already explained it to some of us. Do you want it here for the public hearing?
It wouldn't, there's
It
no
wouldn't hurt
reason why she
anything.
couldn't come just in
Right.
case someone asked.
Mhm.
She could be there to inform them.
and just ask her to say, if it is possible without too much work, could you tell us if, and I don't know if this is possible, if it's a 50 acre field, what could be the impact?
If she knows. I don't wanna embarrass her if
Right.
she doesn't.
Let her know,
Exactly.
let her know ahead.
Well, she's only
She
got
may,
2 days.
I know,
Okay.
because I didn't think about it.
And she's got a training, she's training a new gal and she's way, way behind on everything.
No, I certainly don't mind someone saying, I don't know that right off the top of my head, but I will
But
look
there's a
into it.
state law. Yeah, it's totally just like wind.
Okay,
There is a procedure that every assessor in every county
it goes through. to-
uses, and there's a formula. There's no, it's like farm ground. There's no flex.
Yeah.
Right,
We're
it's just a matter of her
expecting a big
applying the
crowd.
law, which she is aware of.
You have to ask her. I don't, I
We're
haven't
expecting a
had
big
one.
crowd at this meeting on Wednesday.
I don't think so.
I just wondered. It's at the courthouse, right? So, yeah, okay. Just
Right.
wondered.
Yeah, it's a half an hour before a meeting at 8:30. You don't necessarily have to be there, but you're welcome to be there.
Right,
I mean, it is not a, it's not a special meeting, it's
No.
just a hearing.
right.
Several of us should be there. I'm
Okay.
sure Lisa plans on being there, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you
obviously, you
anticipate
guys.
having anybody there?
Hmm?
Do you anticipate having anybody there?
I think there will be some,
Okay.
but I don't
Not big.
foresee it being anything like the wind one.
Okay.
So the other thing that they asked me, which I, again, like, good question, can an individual landowner's contract be different than what is in the ordinance?
What does that mean?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I know we
Contract's
have in
contract.
here the flexibility on, set aside, setback, and that's acknowledged in here. It was just a question that I,
You mean does, like, say the neighbor says,
Uh,
I don't
feet,
care, I'll let
feet.
you put it closer to
If-
the line than what the ordinance says, and he goes, okay, I personally don't see a
But you
reason.
have minimums. You
I do have
50.
minimum.
It can't be less than the minimum.
I mean, that's your standard bearer. I mean, that's your floor right there.
Right.
So,
That's what
And
the
the
purpose
state
of
has
it.
a floor.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the ordinance. is
Okay.
Get your floor, your standard bearer.
I would say, you know, it still has to follow the ordinance, no matter what
so
they're.
your fence can't be under 6 feet,
That's correct.
okay.
I mean,
That's not-
why have an ordinance if we're gonna let everybody vary it, have a variance?
Mhm.
So do you know, because I know, my experience is on wind,
Mhm.
Vermillion County, Illinois.
Mhm.
I know they are signing people up on wind, but are those contracts? Because,
Some of them probably are. I think.
because I know back a while ago, this has been 2 or 3 years ago, they were already signing people up for contracts and they didn't have an ordinance. Or I guess it was an old ordinance.
There are two things, and I've seen it, like Greg Henry, the guy, he had a preliminary contract. There was like an option, okay, and it dealt with, while the option existed, they paid him this, they did this, they had to do that, he had to do this, and then, when they were ready to actually build, they went in and there was a new contract.
Okay, so at that point, the contract would match or reflect the ordinance.
It should. That's pretty much what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I know, if they're still trying to get a certain amount of acres, and they've got farmer A that says, okay, you can build, they'll sign him up and say, you'll get this, this, and this until we have enough acres, and if we don't, well, then we'll just be done. If they get farmers B, C, and D to have enough acres to put a wind farm up, then I assume they'll do the next part of the contract, or however that works.
But the contracts have to follow the ordinance.
Right, I agree.
I think that was about it. Again, we had good discussions. There was quite a bit that was more on the road use agreement, which is, of course, not really discussed in here in detail.
Well, they were burnt there, pretty bad. I don't know if you've been on their roads, but when
You
the
mean
wind,
over,
in Newman area, their roads were.
Well, yeah,
Tore
the
Right,
wind
so that
farm.
was, that
I
was
was
good.
talking about the current one over in Coles County though.
Yeah.
Oh, solar one? Yeah. But you were talking with the Newman.
Yes.
They're pretty fired
They're
up.
very-
about that. Their roads are in terrible shape. so-
Yes, so they're very, so when you have a negative experience, that's when you learn from it. And
Yes.
so bless them for letting us learn from the mistakes.
The wind farms that were operating over there did nobody in Illinois for Central
No,
any favors by the way they handled themselves,
no.
and the government didn't either.
And I think I'd already told you this, but I talked to the gentleman, Dan, I believe, for the Coles County Regional Economic Development, because I was trying to find out about the Coles County ordinance, solar ordinance, to see, because I Googled, couldn't find anything, to see what theirs was as I was doing my research. There is not one, nor does the county board anticipate doing one. So it is a free-for-all in Coles County. The only thing they have is the state ag impact mitigation agreement, which is a pretty good document. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So it wouldn't be the same free-for-all as if they didn't have a wind ordinance.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they didn't,
Still should
but
be something.
I sure would have.
I mean, still should be something on the books, and I commend you guys again for getting this on the books. They're not the only county in this area. I
And
mean, I've been
remember,
contacted about it.
everybody involved in
Yeah.
this should know that we'll amend as we have to, okay? By the way, the wind ordinances in the counties dodged a bullet again 2 weeks ago. The issue was tabled again, but it got closer. And what it does is it takes a lot away from the counties in order to determine minimums and maximums and neighbors and all that stuff. If it ever passes, it's not gonna be good.
Right, because it says you can make yours less, but you can't make it more.
Yeah. Just a note, we won't have to deal with it this year, but
Probably every year.
Mhm. We'll continue to fight for county control. That's our policy.
well, one of these days. Anyway, questions, guys?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, and you answered the question, if you'd seen the ordinance for the wind farm in Coles County. You say they didn't have
You mean the
Solar.
solar farm?
solar, that's what I meant, solar
Yeah,
farm.
it's okay. Yeah.
So they don't have an ordinance.
They don't have an ordinance and don't plan to, they're just gonna go by the state guidelines.
Okay, I just wondered, you answered the question a while ago,
Yeah,
so, okay.
And we appreciate the help of the Farm Bureau, this group here, Lisa's efforts, everybody that's been involved with this. We thank everybody. So, are you gonna contact Dina and see if she's
Yes.
willing to be there? If she is fluent in being able to explain that. I mean,
right, I don't,
she can always report back to us later, but I know when she explained it to me, everything's set up.
Mhm.
Be nice to know what it is again, just so everybody's aware.
Yeah. We've learned from the wind, so we'll do a better job with it for the solar.
I said that I hadn't gotten any calls. I did get 2 calls from people. Well, one wasn't a call, he came to my house, and the other one was a call saying, are you finally gonna pass this so I can make a deal? Okay, so I said, only 1 of 7, but I think we're gonna pass something. So,
And I got some calls, some communications, but, they wanted the ordinance and I told them about the hearing, so, and they were from down at Kansas, so.
well, I'm sure there's a lot of concern down there because that's where
Either
it's all
way,
gonna be plugged
yeah.
in.
It'll all be swallowed up there.
Okay, Andy, got anything?
Just a little, the valves for the upstairs jail renovation came in a little earlier than expected, so they're been in there doing a little bit of the plumbing and things, so.
And that was
hopefully-
the
Yeah. So they're working on that. everything pretty much wired right now. They haven't got the lights in. I think they may still be waiting on them. I don't know.
I don't think they're waiting on them, I just think that
They just didn't feel the necessary hurry at the time because they weren't going to be able to get the plumbing.
yeah, the showers are more problematic.
Yeah,
They were gonna have to pour a little concrete, and there was a little bit extra they had to do there, but it was all lined up and ready to go.
all working, so hopefully the next,
You still have female inmates.
This makes it a whole lot easier to see.
yeah, couple.
And I can get you
They're,
smaller ones than this.
Their occupancy's down quite a bit.
Yeah, when I talked to the sheriff last week, 26, or Jay, I think Jay told me it was 26, which, you know, a week or two before that it was 40. They got rid of most of the inmates that were supposed to go to DOC, you know, they had like 8 or 9 that was on a waiting list, and they got rid of them. I think they've got 1 that there's holding right now, so that helped quite a bit.
Yeah, helps a bunch.
And I noticed that they're utilized, of course, they've always used a little bit of electronic monitoring, but I've seen in the paper where like 2 or 3 people were sentenced, but they were put on home monitoring. So, you know, that instead of being in the jail, it was for minor offenses, nothing major, not serious felonies or anything like that. So that's helped out.
Couple questions. One, what is the cost savings to the county when you put them on home monitoring? I mean, I know it's big, but is there an analysis on that?
It's a lot cheaper. I can't remember now off the top of my head what I was just looking at the bills here. It's got,
$12,000 food bill.
well, yeah, you know, food, potential medicine, doctor visits. Let's see, what else would there be? I mean, obviously, you know,
If we're staffed correctly, obviously, we should be able to handle 27 or 37. I mean, staffing wise, there's no great saving.
definitely cheaper
Yeah.
if they're on a home monitor versus. And see, in the home monitor, most of them pay it themselves. I mean, they're all supposed to pay it, but some of them, for different reasons, you know, it just doesn't get paid. But most of them are paying it themselves, so it doesn't cost the county anything for them to be on this home monitoring.
Who does the monitoring? Is one person does that, or is it spread out? Every shift monitors, or?
I think Jay, the jail administrator, for the most part, monitors that.
And I don't remember my other question. That was the big one.
Yeah.
Andrew gave her speech. Did you have a question? I remember I saw you go outside. Did you have a question I can answer, or? Okay.
Augie?
Yeah, today is the first day to start filing petitions for the June primary.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So petition filing is obviously today, and it ends on the 14th at 4 p.m.
Next Monday, right?
next Monday. So we're open 8 to 4. Somebody be there to take any petitions that do get filed. Question?
I'll bring mine in today, but I don't know if you remember back a number of years ago, they had a lawsuit on how you attach the pages. So,
Just
Is
bring
there-
them in what Augie did.
are they, okay,
When I brought mine in, I brought him loose and he handed me
okay,
a
that's what I was
stapler
wondering.
and he told me what to do,
Okay.
okay?
No, I didn't tell you what to do.
I'm sorry, you just handed me the stapler.
I will tell you what to do here shortly.
Oh, you're not supposed to tell me that?
I don't give legal advice. I just take your petitions
Anyway.
as they're filed.
So,
Staple it
here's a
in the
stapler if you wanna use it.
Do you remember the
Now here's some
lawsuit?
paper clips and here's a stapler. That's up to you.
You have to attach them.
They need to be
Okay.
securely
And you need
fastened.
the number, if you've got 5
Is the
pages
paper
of
clip securely
signatures,
fastened?
you gotta go
One of
1,
five.
2, 3, 4, 5.
He's gonna do it for me today, so.
The state board suggests that they be stapled.
What?
Can I give this to you on Wednesday at the meeting, or do I go?
Absolutely, no.
There's
I'm
a spot
already
for
there
that.
anyway, I'll just bring it in there.
Just bring it Wednesday.
There was a lawsuit one year on how you attach the pages, remember
If
that?
anybody could bring up a lawsuit, it'd be you, Dan.
That's all right, I can handle it.
Carl?
I don't have anything, but public defense, I look at the bills.
Oh, I,
Maria Thompson, is that the lady from Effingham
that's Ally.
that we're paying, she's a conflict?
No, that, you're right.
No, that's
Lapita Thompson.
Yeah,
Peter Thompson.
Yeah, that, she's got a
Peter
name.
Thompson is the conflict.
well, that's what this is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lapita.
So
Lapita.
she's on a monthly
Retainer. yes.
retainer,
Yes,
33, 33, 33.
right. Remember, the judge,
Yeah,
they negotiated that, and she
Right.
wanted a few more dollars.
okay.
Jeez.
I thought
It's in the
that,
budget.
A woman with more money. I can't believe
You're on camera.
that. I said it low.
just
You're gonna have to move.
the jail project.
Well, we
Talk
need to
about
hear
that
from
when you get
Phil.
to it.
From Phil first. What do you got, Phil?
Nothing.
All right, good.
What do you mean, good?
Lisa?
Be nice.
I remember what my other question was on the reduction in the number of inmates. Are we seeing that perhaps part of that reduction is also because our additional staff are making a difference? Legal staff? Are we getting things through the system faster, or is it too early to see?
I think it's basically too early to say.
Yeah,
I think if the system was working at optimum, you might see a bump up to start with. It'd go like this and then go like that.
yeah,
I was talking to one of the judges, and I don't wanna say who, but he indicated, along with another attorney, that things seem to be working smoother. That's all I can tell you.
right. But, yeah, I specifically asked that question to the sheriff and the jail administrator last week, and they said, too soon. You know, it's only been less than 2 months.
Yep.
But they did make the comment that the public defender's been coming down there, which in the past, they never saw the public defender. You know, a lot of times they take them to court, and maybe the public defender might see him in court and just briefly talk to him. But he's actually coming to the jail and visiting with them, and that's a big
So
plus.
they're ready when they get there versus
Right.
just
He's
meeting
been
them.
there, Derek was telling me that he's been there almost every day.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
so that's the big plus
I thought,
so far.
I thought it was interesting when I was there, I was talking to Jeff Wood about, the sheriff about, he goes, yeah, last January and February were our two highest months too. So I'm like, is there a lull after Christmas or something? But he said, that's when we had our problems last year, was January and February, so. I don't know whether that's, it's cold out.
hanging out at the
I don't
tavern
know.
more because it's cold
Or
and,
maybe you got them in the tavern, because they can't be outside, I don't know.
Other
Yeah.
questions?
not on that topic,
Any other topic?
no.
Okay.
What a troublemaker.
I talked to Ollie again last week, and he let me know what I told you guys earlier, also let me know that they would be ready, they thought they would be ready and have a confirmed answer of yes, I will serve from a HRC or from that type of person, mental health, to go on to the board. They also thought they would have another opening, and I didn't expound on that at this point, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I saw Ollie a couple, 3 days ago at the hospital. He said they would probably have a name, their meeting is next week.
They did explain to them that they do not have to, I mean, the recommendations are way too formal on it. I mean, if they wanna shoot a name up, and I told them they weren't guaranteed that that name was gonna be approved, which is true. I mean, we appreciate any advice, and under regular circumstances, I would think that we wouldn't have a problem with anybody that they would suggest. So, okay,
One more thing. Meeting tomorrow?
Meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock, right here, department heads.
okay.
Are we meeting with Ross before that at all?
If you need to, just let me know, I will be here.
He's ready?
He's ready?
Okay,
Okay, no, I meant,
no. Do you-
I
You're the one
don't-
that usually talks to him, is he ready?
I have no idea. I have not talked to Ross since you probably have. So if we wanna talk about,
Oh, we know Ross.
yes, please.
Ross knows, and Ross should be ready.
I think he's ready.
Okay, I'll just double check.
That's not a required meeting, is it, for?
No, this is just to talk about emails and archiving
Okay.
and maintenance and some of the issues that we've experienced the last 10 years. We think we may have a solution to it, but we need full input from everybody involved so they are confident in it. And does that say it pretty good?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be a long meeting.
It should not be a long meeting.
I saw his note, he's got.
Was the 911 coordinator contacted? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I put the email out to every department head, including 911.
Okay.
Yeah, because it'd be important for her to be there also. Because it might be a little bit of expense for, like, the health department and 911. Okay, so, what am I doing?
On my phone line.
I think that was mine.
Okay.
I did bring this, this is a blow up, this is a point, 2.0 of the diagrams, there's a lot of questions on it. They're gonna be in town next week, and we're gonna meet with them, the sheriff's committee, next week, along with the police department, and go over a lot of stuff here, and see where we're at. One of the big things that you may notice, and there's a nice little legend down here, this is the current school, advanced school. This is add-on construction to the jail. This part is the sheriff, this part is the police department, and the other is jail and support. Okay, just to give it. One of the big questions that we came up with was, do we need to have this when we've got 18,500 square feet of room in the building? And I've gotten correspondence back from our architects about this. And, you know, I mean, nothing in this building, nothing construction-wise is cheap. So we need to make sure that we're utilizing every resource that we've got. If this building's in good shape, then maybe the jail can slide this way. Obviously, there needs to be some contact here, but maybe we don't have to do some of the other things.
So
So,
do that part too.
right here,
No,
here,
yeah,
okay, we got a public community, meeting room, elevator, toilets, a long hallway to the judges, a commissioner's office, what does that say, security entrance, that kind of stuff's fine. We got a bunch of Johns, you've got, video visits, public library, you know, or, public lobby. We just wanna make sure that we're, a lot of those questions, what?
It's a good point.
Well, everything's tells you what it is, but that just says existing building. I wanna know what, there's a lot of square foot in there, I just wanna know,
For
can
example,
we do some of this in there? I don't
for
know.
example, ESDA's, I'm sorry, not ESDA, 911 is in the basement here, which, that's fine, but it's not delineated out. We've got another 4,000 or 5,000 square feet here. Could this be a combination, meeting rooms, Johns? Could this be a warming and cooling center certain times of the year? I mean, there's all kinds of things that we need to flesh out. We
I
need
plan
to,
on using both upstairs and downstairs.
3 floors.
Three floors, okay,
Yep.
basement, okay.
Is the entire basement gonna be 911?
oh, no,
No, it'll just be that.
you know, this well, each floor is about 6,200 square feet.
Yeah,
And this, they just put this in here.
okay.
This represents roughly 1,500 square feet. So you can see that there's a lot more square foot down there. At any rate, we just wanna, before we start building new, we need to look at,
Maximize that building.
Right.
You're gonna spend the money on doing that building.
because this renovation is gonna be a hell of a lot cheaper than building this from the ground up.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Always keep in mind when you're remodeling, you tear out and build versus just build,
That's true.
but,
So at any rate, and you know, we looked at different things like hallway widths, which I've already been, security wise, it should be 8 foot for security, 6 foot for non-security, you know, we've got a huge, huge kitchen that Andy would love to have at his place. And we need to decide whether we're gonna do a full-blown kitchen, or are we gonna do a caterer's kitchen? Yeah, I mean, a lot of money here or there, and there's all kinds of questions, so we're gonna go through the process next week of getting the different agencies together and talking about the nitty-gritty. The jail itself, what did I say, 68 people, is that what we wanna be, or do we wanna be at 54? I mean, there's a,
But this is still shipping off juveniles, right?
oh yeah,
There's never a time that we foresee keeping juveniles.
we're not going to be
We don't go there.
capable of doing that.
Okay. So I know, it seems like we had conversation about you always wanna make sure you can add on.
Right.
And so that would make it easier too, if we didn't have this, it would give more room to add on, or at least, it wouldn't, there would be more green space, which wouldn't be so bad either on the west side.
The adding on the cells is
This side.
down there,
Right,
right on that end.
right.
Okay.
Basically, what's that, big open space?
Oh,
Over to the northwest,
No,
no?
this is the I don't know
Oh,
what it's
I
called,
see.
recreation. You know, they said they could move that on out, expand that out there and make cells there if you'd ever need to expand 10, 20, 30 years from now. But see, when he was here a few weeks ago, he was talking like I think he mentioned 48 to 52 beds. Well, you look at this plan and you got an email this morning, there's like 68 or 70
68,
cells.
yeah.
Plus, in the holding areas, you know, there's like 4 cells. In the medical, there was 4 or 5. So, you know, technically on top of the 60-something here, you got another,
We could get well up into the high 70s.
yeah.
We can make money.
Well,
yeah, that's not working,
But-
you ask some of those, that's not.
But, you know,
And staff.
like we talked, then you're talking more personnel.
Mhm.
And when you talk more personnel,
That's what
you know, how you gonna afford to even operate it?
Yeah, Terre Haute did that one, I don't know if you read the paper, I forget how many extra people they had to have for the new jail they built over there.
Right there.
And they're gonna
It
do
was a bunch.
raises,
Pardon?
Right.
and they're getting raises.
Yeah.
which does beg the point here. Do you guys, is anybody, Ralph Nagel called me, Friday. And I hadn't had a chance to tell you, he called me Friday afternoon and wanted to know if anybody wanted to come over and see the new jail over there. The reason he's saying this time would be great, because they've got it 99% done and not in use. So you can see the whole thing, and all I need to do is call him and he'll set up the transportation and whatever we want. We could ask on Wednesday when we get together and see if anybody wants to go too, so. But is there interest?
Yes.
Probably. What, do you know how many bed jail it is?
I don't know too much. Carl,
Okay.
do you know?
300 or 400, was it? I mean, I've been
Yeah, it's
reading
big jail.
in the Terre Haute paper, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I think the sheriff think the sheriff told me he's been there a few months ago. Of course, it wasn't quite completed, but he's been there. But when we have our meeting Wednesday, you know, they might wanna go again and take a look, and we could maybe coordinate with the county board members and some of the sheriff's department or whoever wants to go. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
I mean, you could see some of the newest, whether it's a 400 or whether it's a 50, some of the stuff's all gonna, I mean, the basics,
Right.
I would think would be similar. Anyway, this is available, and we do have a copy running around that's like 24 by 22 or something, like, if you would like a copy of that, I can see if we can't have them brought to the meeting on Wednesday if you would like to have, or if you wanna wait till after we make some more changes, however you'd like to do it. But this is available right here for you guys to look at.
I know I think Russ needs to get a copy of it. And if anybody else wants one, you know, let us know and we can get them made and have them Wednesday.
Sir.
Is that the same drawing that you gave me when Michael made his presentation last month, that you gave me a
That's different.
roll of those?
It's different.
It is,
Yeah.
so do we,
Yeah.
My thought on moving it into the old building was, you know, like we're talking about the deconstruction to construct, tear out. Then I would think that that would move more of the cost of reutilizing that building onto the existing, to the grant that we would get, therefore that'd be a better use of money. So some of our costs that we would have to incur if we moved other entities over there, some of that we would have been able to take care of with the money for this project, shoring up floors, whatever, plumbing, electric.
You didn't give them a sheet. Okay.
What, the thing is, most of the infrastructure of that building is gonna have to be tore out and redone.
So I'm,
The electrical
yeah,
shop, the plumbing shop,
sure,
heating shop, I mean, basically, you've got 4 walls, a pretty good roof that's still, you know,
yeah.
floors are pretty good. And luckily, most of the interior walls are not bearing, and they're fairly flimsy. And I don't take that wrong, they did a good
They
job,
can be
but
Sure.
they're easily torn out and reconfigured.
I'm just thinking that we could absorb more of the cost that we would be having to come up with anyway into this project.
Yeah, I see what you're saying,
Yeah, which would
finally,
be
yes,
a whole
that's
lot better
possible.
financially.
Yes, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry I'm a little dense.
okay, I probably didn't say it. I didn't talk in name terms.
Ooh, that was sexist.
Boys,
I'll get 3 or 4 or 4 or 5 more copies, so if you want them, they're available by Wednesday. Josh.
Bring, 5 would be
Yeah,
for the other members.
right, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And get Augie a more up-to-date one.
so those, should I get rid of those, or those,
Well,
yes.
they were just preliminary, and if they
Yeah, they were
change.
preliminary. The only thing is that if you need to archive anything, that we have those. I mean, that's totally up to you. We're not trying to
And this
take-
isn't set in stone, this is
No,
just the
No,
latest.
This is gonna be, and you gotta remember, once this is all done and it's run through the mills with Coles County, and then we start applying for, and then if we do get the loans, or we fund it however we fund it, we're gonna be looking either to advertise or look at architects again. And, you know, if we're happy with our current architect, fine, but, I mean,
But we can lock our interest rate in with this.
we're trying.
Okay, that's what,
Yes, we are.
that's the important thing at this point,
Yes.
I think.
Good things happening. I did talk to the mayor about all of this again, and I don't think I'm telling anything out of school. They're still very much interested. I went down and saw Michael Martin. He asked to be included on all of our emails so he can keep better track of it.
Okay.
The mayor understands that his department needs to decide what they would like to have there. They understand that they're a part and parcel of the 911 facilities, parking lot, maintenance, all of those things come into play. He said he'd prefer to to deal with, at least on the sheriff's department, so forth, as a lease. Long-term lease.
As a lease, that's probably the best way to handle it.
Yes. Then that, if we have a lease and it's for, they're paying 50 grand a year, then we can dedicate that 50 grand, I mean, just for the lease, not for the maintenance, but 50 grand is for the actual construction. Then we could use that as a part of our payment, or loan payment, or a bond payment, or whatever it happens to be.
Okay.
So, okay?
Is that how the judicial would work as well?
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I mean, what do you think of that one courtroom?
Mm-hmm.
I
Or would there
have,
just be a build-in?
I have a feeling that that's just gonna be on us.
Right, well, we're responsible for the,
For providing the space?
for providing court, in the county, correct?
Correct.
So that would just be part of the county's expense, I assume.
And actually, the way we're doing it would actually save us some costs, not obviously all the costs. The only judicial process that could take in the jail would be for non-evidentiary things, like setting bail, the other hearings that are not involving evidence. So if we don't have to hold them back and forth for these things, then that makes a big difference.
So, sorry, I just keep going on. So, the city police is the only income generating entity that would be part of this?
ESDA may be, there are funds, and we have another consultant that's working with IEMA to see if we can get some money to help us put in ESDA. But that would be a one-time shot, that would not be on a lease basis, okay? Now, 911, just to review this, they currently have a less than, but it was originally designed as a 100-year lease for $1. So, if we move them from where they're at, 911, the way we see it, would not be expected to pick up costs for the construction of the new facility. Now, if they want to replace some of their equipment or do some other things, that would be on them. But as far as 911 and their facility, and they've asked for what, 1,500 square feet or whatever it is, then that's what we're gonna have to provide. Okay, but we do have agreements with the communication systems, that as long as we meet 3 criteria, which is a good source of backup power, the connection and the availability of connections in a climate-controlled room, they will stand the cost for that. That's a Century Network, I believe is what it's called. So that isn't gonna be, or it shouldn't be a huge deal. I just wanted to review a couple of these things at the time. Anything else to come before the meeting today? Just to review, 8:30 Wednesday morning for the hearing, the regular meeting will start at 9. And then tomorrow we have our little meeting with department heads, and onward and upward. Motion, do we need a closed session for anything? Motion to adjourn? Russ moves,
I'll say it.
Lud seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Oh.
Opposed, nay.